and welcome to another episode of Disaster Empire Quick Views. I'm Ashley Guzman, and this is the podcast where we talk to thought leaders and innovators in resilience. And I am super excited to have Cheyene Marling with us today. And many of you know her from BC Management. She is a fixture in the resilience industry. But before we get started, I will ask her to give a brief bio for those who might be unfamiliar with her. Hey, and thank you so much for joining today.
Ashley, thanks for having me. So a little bit of a bio on my background. I fell into this industry back in 1999 as a recruiter, and I've always been a recruiter within the industry. But when I moved out to California from Wisconsin back right after graduating college, I was going to work with this staffing firm, and they immediately put me into working on the Comdisco contract. And for those who remember Comdisco way back in the day, they were the number one provider for data recovery, data center. And obviously 1999, that was during Y2K. So we had a very large contract to place all of these professionals within, really at that point, it was really called disaster recovery planning and planning for the Y2K efforts. And I started placing all these consultants, senior consultants, managing consultants all across the US. And I fell in love with the profession. I fell in love with the industry and the professionals and everyone's real just passion for what they did. And I decided to venture off and really make this my focus from a recruiting standpoint. And then I started BC Management in March of 2000. So that entity has existed in name and also within our kind of social platforms really since that point. So going on 23 years. So very exciting.
Thank you for that. So you have, and BC Management has undergone some changes over the last year. Can you talk about how you came to be with O'Brien?
Of course. So yes, I've been getting a lot of questions on this. So obviously I started the company back in March of 2000 and I ran the organization for 17 years. Interestingly enough, in late 2017, we were acquired by Firestorm and their parent company is Recor that's publicly traded. So when they approached me, I wasn't looking to be sold or looking to be acquired. But it was the right opportunity, the right time. I was just burned out running my own organization. You're doing everything from payroll, human resources, IT, and it was just really exhausting. It just wasn't fun for me anymore. I wanted to focus on the recruiting and the data research. Firestorm, then the parent company Recor, decided they did not want to be involved in crisis management anymore. So we then joined Evolution. And Evolution was started by my two very good friends, Rob Giffen and Brian Zawada. And then Evolution was acquired by Assurance Software. And then we rebranded. And that acquisition happened right after COVID hit in April of 2020. Then we rebranded to Castellan Solutions that following October. And then Castellan was acquired by Risk Connect, which they're a large player in the risk management GRC software business. Shortly after that acquisition, they did not want to retain the staffing and the data research piece of the business that I managed within the organization. And so after my employment ended there, O'Brien's approached me and I had conversations with some other companies as well. But I have an enormous amount of respect for Grace and her team at O'Brien's, and it's a phenomenal fit. So within O'Brien's, I'm still going to be able to focus in the staffing and data research piece. And within staffing, I'll be able to do more than just direct hire. I'll be able to provide staff augmentation, contracting services, and then really kind of elevate the data research that we've been conducting for over 20 years as well. So it's a fantastic fit. And so, already we're bringing in consulting opportunities for O'Brien's as well. So it's been very excited about the next year, 2023.
Excellent, Cheyenne. So glad to hear that. And, you are bringing such an important area and information to the industry with the data management and continue with the recruiting. I'm assuming that's continuing as well. Yes. So I'm so glad to hear that what O'Brien has brought you on and that will will go forward. So congratulations to you in that new venture. Well, hey, I'm going to ask you a question that I ask all of my guests, and that is, how do you define resilience?
I really think of resilience management and looking at the entire organization. So it's so much more than just business continuity or crisis management or cyber resiliency, right? It's really looking at the entire organization and ensuring that the entire organization is resilient, right? There are so many different things that impact your organization, from not just man-made or natural events, but even things such as corporate fraud, right? So an organization to truly be resilient needs to look at every aspect of their organization and know that they can respond to any type of an event that can trigger some downtime within or impact their employees. So looking at the entire resilience posture of the entire organization.
Cheyene, you have such a unique vantage point on the industry. Can you share from your perspective what you're seeing as kind of the recent trends in the industry?
There have been so many trends over the last 20 years that I've been in this industry, and I can tell you, I think some of them, I want to first focus on the trends I've seen over the time period, right? And then look at how COVID's really impacted our profession as well. I think when I first got into the industry actually my first conference was 1999 at the DRJ. I remember at that point, people were having a debate about what to call this, disaster recovery or business continuity. So that paradigm shift to really break down the silos across the organization and get to the resilience management posture and looking at the entire organization. So, much more than just the DR piece, but the business continuity crisis management. That's really impacted careers, because when I first got into this industry, there was very much a glass ceiling where people, they hit the top end as a disaster recovery director or data center DR director. But now you're seeing individuals come into this profession and they're continuing to grow into a chief risk officer, a chief security officer, because there's so many, depending on where resilience or business continuity is reporting within the organization, that opportunity is there to continue to grow with their career. So, looking at the terminology and how we've kind of evolved over the last 20 years, breaking down those silos across the organization, looking at the career opportunities that's there as well. And I think even crisis management has just exploded within the profession as well, because I think the first person I placed that was really crisis management focused was back in 2008. And at that point, it was very much kind of a new concept as well. And that looks into also the resilience management, not just business continuity, but making sure that your plans are really actionable. I think another thing I've seen within the profession is that the soft skills, the competencies that you really need to have to be successful in this industry are becoming more and more important, especially after COVID, because now executives are really looking at the individuals who are really leading the effort and championing the program. They want those individuals to have that situational awareness. And that comes down to not even activating during an event, but also being really, understand the culture of the organization and what type of program is going to work best for that culture. The emotional intelligence, because you're having to interact with individuals all across the organization. So the emotional intelligence is really key within our world. Being a change agent, being a champion, a leader within the industry, and really having a passion for what you do as well. And I think another key thing that we noticed, or we've been really assessing with the data, is the transitioning away from IT to risk management and really kind of coupling under the risk and other related kind of disciplines. In fact, last year, we had a BCM Trends report published in August, and that indicated that IT as a department owner decreased from 27% in 2009 to 10% in 2022. So that is a huge shift. And at the same time, risk management increased as a department owner from 11% to 24%. So of course, it's really important to understand where to position your program for that maximum effectiveness, but it's interesting to look at how the data has really, the data is pointing to that trend, from 2009 to 2022. So that was really kind of, well, we've been seeing it for a long time, but I think the industry as a whole has really been, it really embraced that as the department owner and as a program sponsor.
It's great to hear you say that, because I've been blogging about those things for some time now. So I love that the data is supporting it. And I, keep up with your reports as well. So definitely has helped influence my thinking and what I'm seeing in the industry. Well, hey, I'm looking down for a second because I want to make sure I get this right. But I am really glad to have you on right ahead of the launch of BC Management's latest 2023, or is it 22? Sorry, 22 data for the global BCM compensation report, correct?
Yeah, actually, so our 2022 report was published in April. It will be the 2023 report that's about to go live. In fact, it's going live today, I believe, when this is being aired. So that is it's incredible to think that we've been producing this report for 23 years now. And this report, this study actually really prompted the rest of our research to also look at program analytics as well.
Excellent. Well, hey, can you share a summary of highlights of things you're seeing so you can motivate people to go ahead and get that report?
Of course. And I'm going to reference and look at my other screen here, but I can tell you last year, there are a lot of things going on, right? Because COVID hit and there was the Great Resignation. Yeah. Individuals were really just kind of, overworked, especially in our line of work, right? The increased scrutiny of the program, the stresses on business continuity, resilience management planning from the COVID response, the supply chain issues, the geopolitical issues, the demand just spiked for companies hiring experienced business continuity, resilience management, crisis management professionals. So our data from the last study actually indicated that compensations increased by 13% in 1 year. And that's something that we have never seen. Traditionally, the compensations increase on average across the entire profession, usually increase about 5-6%, maybe 7%, but 13% increase from last year. We also noticed in the 2022 report that, obviously there's a Great Resignation across multiple professions. It didn't impact the business continuity profession as much as other professions, but I can tell you that the business continuity profession or professionals within our industry definitely flirted and made a job change more than ever before in 2022. So the data showed that globally, 16% of all the respondents who participated in the study proactively sought a new job in 2022. And that's a huge jump up from 9% that we gauged the year before. So significant individuals looking for new jobs. The demand was the highest we've ever seen. Okay. And additionally, in our BCM Trends report, we noted that 37% of the organizations were looking to hire people for their business continuity resilience management programs, but only 25% are now looking because a lot of people made a job change. So it will be interesting to see how we go into the new year, the 2023 data and what that points to as well. And I should say that anyone who participates in any of the studies, they don't just get the great report that we publish, but they get a customized dashboard. And that dashboard is either customized by their job title or by years of experience. So right there, that's a great way to get free complimentary data and understand how not only how your compensation compares to people in your peer group, but also how your competencies, your leadership skills, your management skills, what percent of individuals are certified in your peer group, what percent of individuals have activated an event. So it's really incredible data to get that's customized to you.
Thank you for sharing that. And Cheyenne, I'm just going back to your comments on, the soft skills. It's no longer nice to have. It seems like a must to have. You really need to have those skills to walk into the profession going forward. And hey, I wanted to ask you, you were talking about that there are more jobs than ever before last year. What were you seeing in those jobs? Were they entry-level analyst jobs, or were you seeing a mix of that, everything up to director? And are you seeing, resilience or chief resilience officer or security director come across your desk as well?
That's a great question, Ashley. What we noticed, I think this last year, it's really been a blend equally of mid-level, junior, senior leadership roles. Right after COVID hit, we probably saw the greatest increase in need, demand for senior leaders within the profession, those who have actually created a program from the ground up, those who have managed a global program. So the senior leadership roles were definitely in demand right after COVID hit. But in the last year, it's really been, I would say, even, and really probably more than anything else, the mid-level. If you're going to really say, but the mid-level, when you get into the senior leadership positions, there's not as many of those to go around, right? And it's really across all the industry sectors too. It's not just financial or healthcare or pharmaceutical. It's really evenly across all the different industry sectors as well.
Thank you for sharing that. And hey, based on the research and the data that you're seeing, what are, in your estimation, the significant trends going forward now in the industry that you expect over time?
I think we're going to continue to see breaking down the silos with the resilience management, right? And not just, we still have a lot to do as a profession. It's exciting, I think, for business continuity professionals that we have this opportunity to really get embedded within senior leadership and get their understanding of the program and their, I want to say that COVID's really prompted the need to really look at the resilience posture and not just look at just the different silos of cyber resiliency or crisis management, but the entire organization. So I think that's going to continue to break down the silos. Professionals in this industry, they're going to continue to see that opportunity to grow within the organization and take on more and more responsibilities, which is going to lead to some of those competencies and skill sets and soft skills that people need to have within this industry as well. Even going back, I would say 15 years ago, I noticed that more and more people were coming into the profession through different avenues. Before, it used to be very IT or data center backgrounds, but now individuals are coming through multiple sectors, which again is impacting how we look at resilience management. It's impacting how we approach our programs and really look at the culture of the organization and what type of program is going to work best for that culture as well. I think we're going to continue to see, you did ask about an opportunity for chief continuity officer, and I have seen a few chief continuity officers. I think more than the chief continuity officer is still that chief risk officer, right? The chief security officer. And I see a lot of individuals that when I got into the profession who were in it before me, that now they're taking on those senior leadership roles. So the opportunity, I also see a lot of individuals that will get into business continuity or crisis management, and they feel like they're pigeonholed into one of those disciplines, but the opportunity is really there that if you're doing business continuity, you can grow into risk management or crisis management. You can grow into third-party risk management or supplier resiliency. So the opportunity to kind of take different career paths when your profession is even more than ever before, too.
I love to hear that, and really having people think outside of the box, so to speak, because I think you're right. That does happen. People start on a track and then sometimes feel like that's all they're being seen or known for. So that's a great suggestion to really, and I would assume, talk to people like yourself, talk to others in their network about, okay, I'm interested in, vendor management or crisis management or BC or, security. How can I get into that space? So thank you so much for sharing that. Well, hey, wanted to round off with the near term. What are you expecting or anticipating this year right ahead of us in terms of what is going to happen in the industry, coming out of COVID, hopefully knocking on wood?
Yeah.
What do you expect professionals to really be challenged by or have opportunities around this year?
Well, first, I want to point out the hybrid. We haven't really spoken about that yet, how more companies we had that work from home for such a long time, and now companies some companies are bringing people in full time to the office, but most of my companies are embracing that hybrid model, right? So that flexibility is there for professionals, not just within our industry, but multiple industries. So most companies, when they approach me, it's typically a hybrid model in the office, 3 days a week, which is really kind of what we've seen in the last couple of years as well. I think that with the hints of inflation and everything else going on within within the marketplace, I really do believe that the business continuity profession is going to be protected. I think the job surge won't be as high as it was in the last, 12, 18 months. But I do believe that the demand is still going to kind of soften our industry, so we're not impacted by the layoffs that might be occurring in other professions. I think we're going to be somewhat shielded to that, but I think it's definitely going to plateau where you're not going to see the sharp increase of the people leaving jobs or getting hired and what have you. I also do believe that this next year, there's definitely, I'm hearing more and more, companies are really looking to upgrade their systems. So think about what just happened with Southwest. There's a lot of antiquated systems out there. So I think that the focus on kind of technology resiliency, IT service continuity, cyber resiliency is going to be certainly higher than what we've seen in the past. I'm already hearing and having those conversations with many of my clients. I think as an industry, we also need to continue to improve on our vendor management, third-party risk management as well, because according to our data, that's an area that a lot of companies can still continue to improve upon. And if you think of what happened with supply chain resiliency issues during COVID, that's not going away anytime soon. So that's going to be a huge, huge focus area as well, and definitely in the next couple, 12 to 18 months.
Excellent. I would love to have you here all day because I could really dig into the data and I'd love to see that analysis, but I know we have to wrap up. But I wanted to ask you before we go, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience that you haven't had a chance to speak to yet?
Well, I think it's, if anyone who's on LinkedIn, definitely follow me on LinkedIn. I like to post a lot of some inspirational running videos. So those, I always get asked this question. Okay, Cheyene, what do you do when you run? Like, how do you do this? I literally take my phone and I just record and I hope it turns out okay every time I do it. But for those who don't follow me, I encourage you to follow me. I try to not only just talk about careers, but data, trends, what we're seeing within the profession. Some tips on career resiliency, how to make yourself more marketable. So I think that's it. I encourage people to reach out to me and reach out to me anytime with any questions too. There's a lot of things that people aren't sure about their career or what's the next step to take or what certification to get. I am more than happy to have those one-on-ones with individuals out there and help them in any way that I can.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your generosity and for all that you give to the industry. Just want to thank you. And it's a niche, but it's such an important one because without you, I don't think that data is out there in the way that it is. So I want to encourage our listeners to participate in your reports as well. So how can they participate? How can they jump in and help out and share their information so it helps all of us and also where they can go to find some more information? So LinkedIn, but is there a website for BC Management today?
So we have bcmanagement.com. So just bcmanagement.com. There you can find there's a lot of great information on there. I'm not just saying that just to say there's a lot of great kind of tips on your career resiliency. But if you go to research and insights, we have our compensation studies there, and then we have program analytics. So we're going to have 2 studies are going to be live. And one's the compensation. So it's right under that research and insights. There's actually 2 different study links, one for permanently employed professionals and one for independent fixed term contractors. And definitely encourage everyone to participate. Every year I have someone come to me saying that they're worried if they participate, they may skew the data because their compensation's too high or it's too low. But in reality, we need everyone to participate because, again, it gets back to the customized data, those dashboards we provide the industry that are customized by job title or by years of experience. And the more people who participate, the better the data. Same with our event impact management study, which is under the research and insights under program analytics. And there, that report is phenomenal because it highlights how events impact organizations, from downtime, the impacts of the organization, the financial impacts. And again, that data is also customized by industry or by size of organization, by organizational revenues. So if you're looking for data specifically to financial or healthcare, encourage everyone to share with their friends, because it just is going to make the dashboards better for everyone.
That's such a great resource, and I encourage everyone in the audience to go and check that out, as well as the compensation report. I can speak from experience, so the dashboards are very helpful. There is a great deal of data there, so please get in there, participate, and then look around and see what you can find. And Cheyenne, thank you for being such a great resource for all of us. I want to thank you for being here and for jumping on and sharing with this audience. Please, everyone, go and follow Cheyenne as well on LinkedIn and BC Management. And just wanted to again say thank you so much, and I appreciate you for being here. Thanks, Cheyenne.
Thank you for having me.